On this episode of Time About the Movies, we're wrapping September off with a pretty decent, actually not even decent, a really good slate of movies overall, with the exception of one film. We have Adam Sandler as Dracula in Hotel Transylvania. We have Joseph Gordon-Levitt killing his future self, who's Bruce Willis. Doesn't make sense by genetic standpoints, but it makes for a really good movie from Rian Johnson. Looper. We have one of the biggest surprises of the weekend, easily, Pitch Perfect. But we also have one bad apple, and that is quite literally a movie about teachers who just don't give a shit about poor kids, pretty much, and won't back down. We'll take a look at these movies and more. September 28th, 2012, Time About the Movies. You know what we're doing here? Let's go.
On September 28th, see the world's most legendary monsters like you've never seen them before. On vacation.
Didn't I tell you guys we'd have fun?
Yeah, I'm working up a nice one.
Pack your bags.
Here comes the party!
Check in.
I'm into that.
And let your scare down.
Is it my mistake? What is wrong with you people?
Hotel Transylvania, rated PG.
And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the four films that wrap up September 2012, September 28th to be exact here. And we're starting off with Hotel Transylvania, which to many people was a big surprise. And, actually, now that I think about it, this weekend had a couple of big surprises with this and Pitch Perfect, but we'll get to that one later on. But I think of the two, this one's probably the lesser of the surprises, but then again, I'll explain why in just a second here, but we have the story of Adam Sandler, who plays Dracula, who's the owner of Hotel Transylvania, where the world's monsters can take a rest from human civilization. Dracula invites some of the most famous monsters, including Frankenstein's monster, Mummy, a werewolf family, and the Invisible Man, to celebrate the 118th birthday of his daughter Mavis, played by Selena Gomez. The hotel is essentially kind of a protective area for Dracula's daughter, because he has this thing about not wanting to let her go out into the world and all that, even though she wants to. So, kind of a similar story. We've seen done to death before, but it's a way to protect the monsters from the humans in general. Things change, however, when a young human traveler named Jonathan, played by Andy Samberg, comes, and Dracula has to protect Mavis from falling in love with him before it's too late, even though they've kind of sparked. They've zinged, as they called it. Their eyes connect, and that's the thing that's supposed to say that you've just met your one true love, even though they kind of jumped the shark on that with a third film, because apparently you can zing more than once. But yeah, so that's the story here, and you have, like I said, a cast that also includes Andy Samberg, as I mentioned, Kevin James, Fran Drescher, John Lovitz, CeeLo Green, Steve Buscemi, Molly Shannon, David Spade. Solid cast overall in here, and, this is a movie that really was something that Adam Sandler desperately needed, because we've taken a look at a lot of his movies over the last couple of years, and a lot of them have been really terrible, but this is not only his best film easily, this film is, without a doubt, one of his best movies. And Sony Pictures Animation, this was a movie that really put them into another echelon here. They had more hits than misses. Open Season was actually kind of decent. Surf's Up was really good, a very underrated film. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is a classic. Arthur Christmas, The Pirates. The Smurfs is only the real mess, but then again, it's better than a lot of the other Smurf movies we've gotten since then, so take that for what you will. 2012 as a whole was not a great year for animated films. There was a lot of really lackluster ones, but there were some good ones. Madagascar 3, Paranorman, The Pirates, and then we got this movie here, and, it's been a really, really good year for animated films. It's a really good second half of the year for animated films, I should say, because we'll have Frankenweenie next weekend, and then Wreck-It Ralph comes out in November. Ooh, excuse me, I'm sorry. But, yeah, this is a really, really good movie. It's the best animated movie of the year, quite honestly. And it's shocking because you never would have thought that, but then again, when you've got a director like Genndy Tartakovsky, who created some of the greatest animated shows in my youth, Dexter's Laboratory, The Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, it's not hard to see why, and it's great to see that animation style that we're used to seeing with Genndy Tartakovsky mixed in with the CG animation. And it just blends really well. The comedy is really good. This has a lot of Tex Avery style humor, and it combines it with a lot of smart satirical humor, being very creative with the jokes that are very grating in a lot of kids' films these days, and it actually does work here. it's a movie that really knows what it's doing. The best joke in the movie is when, the climax of the movie is Dracula trying to get John to come back to the castle, to the hotel, and, he's on an airplane, he flies up there, and they're showing a little bit of Twilight, and Twilight, thinking My Little Pony for a second there, Dracula goes like, this is how we're represented in this world. Like, even the movie knows that Twilight is fucking terrible. Like, I love that this universe knows that is fucking awful, a fucking awful series, but that made me laugh my ass off for a long, long time when I first heard it the first time. I was laughing for like a good minute and a half, because that's just such a good joke overall. But, and like I said, the voice work is really good. I mean, Adam Sandler as Dracula surprisingly works really well. He makes that character his own. He's not doing the same character that we're used to seeing him with these loud, obnoxious voices like in Jack and Jill or Eight Crazy Nights. But no, this movie really is where you get to see Adam Sandler doing his best stuff. I mean, not only that, but also, what was that, trying to remember the Lizard movie he just did recently. What was it, I can't remember the name. It has a generic name, so of course I could remember it. Leo. I mean, this is a guy that really knows what he's doing when it comes to voices in animated form. I mean, there was even a point where if his live-action movies continue to bomb, I would have said just continue doing these animated movies, because you're doing a good job at it. Selena Gomez is really good here as Mavis, I mean, she's one of the best things. She really is somebody who really started to show her grace, once she got the chance to star in other things outside of Disney. Monte Carlo was kind of an example, even though that wasn't a great film. I mean, this is a movie where it really does work to her advantages, and that character really does evolve into becoming the real main character of the movies going forward, especially with the third and fourth film. But, you got also strong cast, and also includes Sandberg, Kevin James, Steve Buscemi. CeeLo Green as the Mummy was really good here. Everybody here is doing a really good job, and what I love about this movie is that it's a very clever movie. It borrows a lot. I mean, they borrow a lot from Monsters Incorporated, and the way the story is played out works really well. I love the fact that there is not a central villain in this movie. It's very rare that you get an animated movie that does not have a villain. Remember, this is before, movies like, this was before a lot of Disney movies had the surprise villains, which got old really quickly, but it's interesting to have a movie here where you don't have a main villain, and I thought that worked so well, because you don't really need a villain in an animated movie to make a good film. I mean, we've seen it in other movies in a number of different ways overall. Like, even Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs doesn't have a central villain overall, just people who think that they're better than everybody else, like the mayor of the town. But I mean, it pulls it off. The ending was so different than what I'm used to seeing in animated movies. I love the fact that the monsters just get the whole idea of humans all wrong, because they've been so stuck in this time period where, every human wants to kill them, but then they go to this small town where they're having a monster festival, and they think that it's like a trap or something. But no, there you go. Everybody is really happy to see these monsters. Like, these people do not care that real-life monsters exist, and they're more than willing to go along with the ride with it. And I love that they did that. I love the way that they took that route. This is just such a really, really good movie. I loved every minute of it. I thought it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. It was a movie that I really admired a lot. This is one of the best animated movies I've seen. I saw it in a long, long time up to that point. It's funny. It's smart. It's silly. It's got great characters, a lot of heart, a great story. Just a really fun movie overall. It's everything you can ask for and then some for a film like this. And for Adam Sandler, it's a return to form to what makes him so great. Hotel Transylvania. It's Halloween time. Look for it out there. If you haven't seen it, you're really doing yourself a huge disservice by missing out on this series in general, because the series overall has been really, really good. And this one definitely is the best of the bunch, easily. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to another really good movie that came out this weekend. Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis in Lorber.
30 years from now, the mob will control time travel. My job is to eliminate targets sent here from the future. Even if the target is me.
On September 28th, you let him run free. I'm gonna fix this! I'm gonna fight it! You can't escape. I'm gonna take everything you got! Your future.
This is my life now. You had yours already, so why don't you do what old men do and die?
Looper.
Yeah, once you get past the fact that you can't buy Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a younger version of Bruce Willis, this movie actually does turn out to be really damn good. You've got a story here that revolves around present-day contract killers called loopers whose targets are sent back through time by criminal syndicates from the future. And as we see in the trailer, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is one of these people, but then his next target turns out to be the older version of himself, played by Bruce Willis. We also have characters played by Emily Blunt, Paul Dano, Piper Perabo, Jeff Daniels in here. And this is Rian Johnson, of course, who gave us The Brothers Bloom and Brick. And a movie that is very, very clever on a number of different levels. It's a smart thriller. It's a film that keeps you on the edge of your seat. And a movie that works mostly because, quite simply and effectively, it's a sci-fi film that isn't trying to become the next big film franchise out there. That's been a lot of the biggest problems with these original sci-fi concepts overall, is that they're already planning for future films before they even see if the first film's even successful to begin with. And I like the fact that this movie keeps it contained to one storyline and keeps you compelled with what they're giving you here. It's a really good movie. And again, you've got a lot of great talent aboard here. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, one of our best actors. Bruce Willis, returning to form here, and he desperately needed it after the cold light of day earlier in the month. Emily Blunt, you can never go wrong with her. Jeff Daniels, I mean, just a strong, strong cast in this movie, and it just works to a T on so many levels. The elements of action in here are really cool. The twists and turns they throw in there are really strong. It's Rian Johnson doing what Rian Johnson does so well. It just works on all cylinders, man. Looper is a really, really impressive film. One of the year's best films, easily. I mean, what more can I even say about it that hasn't already been said? A terrific, terrific film. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie. Another one of this weekend's biggest surprises. I think easily the biggest surprise of the three films we had this weekend that were good. That is Pitch Perfect.
Did you call yourself Fat Amy?
Yeah, so tweets like you don't do it behind my back.
We need 8 perfect singers if we want to be champions.
They may not be perfect,
We should be taking risks.
but on September 28th, they'll pitch slap the competition.
Let's remix this business.
Ain't ever about the money.
It's not about the money, money, money. We don't need your money, money, money.
Pitch Perfect.
I'm also good at pirate dancing.
Select theaters start September 28th. Rated PG-13.
So yeah, this is one where the marketing really wasn't selling the film all that well. I remember the trailers actually looking pretty horrible for the most part, and I thought that this was not going to be something I'd want to see, but then the early reviews came out and they were all very positive, and I thought to myself, well, that seems kind of odd, so I gave it a chance, and I'm kind of glad I did. You got a story following an all-girl a cappella group called the Bellas, who try to beat the reigning a cappella group Troublemakers. You have Becca, played by Anna Kendrick, who's a girl who wishes to be a famous DJ in Los Angeles, forced to go to college in Carolina because her father disapproves. There she's introduced to the Bellas, who are scouting for new members. Becca also meets a boy played by Miles Teller, I think it is. No, it's not Miles Teller, it's Skylar Astin, I think it is. But he works in the radio station with her, and one girl suggests that she should audition, that girl being Brittany Snow, but Becca turns down the offer. She later decides to audition and pass the test along with Fat Amy, played by Rebel Wilson. I just love the fact that the movie is so aware that this of a character like that, like she calls herself Fat Amy because she knows that the people are going to do this behind her back, but and a few other girls. It turns out the boy she met passed the test to be in the Troublemakers, rivals against the Bellas. Both of these groups aim for winning the international a cappella concert, creating tension and forbidding romance. Like I said, the trailers didn't look that great, but this is one of those ones where you really have to not judge the book by its cover, because you make a poor judgment on a lot of stuff like this, and you miss out on something really special. And this one really is a really, really good film. I actually was really impressed by what I saw with it. But then again, I like a cappella singers. You know, NBC had a show on around this time called The Sing Off, which was maybe one of the only reality shows I ever watched back then. I'm not a big reality show person in general. I don't care about anything that goes on Netflix. I never cared about the Tiger King or any of these reality shows or these reality stars that people try to make out to be. I just don't give a crap about them. But this show I actually cared about because the singers are singing their ass off when they're doing a cappella. They actually have talent, and not just going on to be obnoxious dumbasses who look for fame and fortune. Like, I don't play that game around here, but I mean that's part of the reason why I kind of like this movie a lot more than I could have imagined. The characters are all really good. You have a cast that includes a lot of notable young talent. Anna Camp, as I mentioned, Brittany Snow, Anna Kendrick, Rebel Wilson, Chrissy Fitt. Just a lot of really, really good actresses in here, really giving it their all. And yeah, they're all in their late 20s and early 30s and actually look like college students, which is very hard to come by, especially if you see a movie like Man of the House, which came out in 2005, and a lot of those actresses were in their 30s and looked nothing like college students. But I mean, the real standout of the movie is Rebel Wilson, who just really just knocks it out of the park in this movie. I mean, she can be really, really funny. Bridesmaids, it felt like she was just there to be kind of like the gross-out comic relief, and also in What to Expect When You're Expecting. Like, I just thought they were trying to push her off as the female Russell Brand, but not in a good way. The great thing about her in this particular movie is that she actually made me laugh pretty hard. There was a lot of really good, funny moments with her. Finally, you have a script that actually uses her to her good comedic advantages. So, yeah. It was a movie that really took me by surprise with her in particular. She really was the highlight of this film. The covers were really good, too. They felt like they were sung by professional singers. They didn't feel poorly done like they do on something like Glee in general. This does a better job of this than something like a Rock of Ages did, which I like Rock of Ages, but, that film overall had a lot of its own problems overall, but this kind of reminded me a lot of Joyful Noise kind of earlier in the year, in a way, except done much better. There's one problem I had with the movie. You could tell that they were trying a little too hard to be like Glee when you have lines like, this is aka crazy, and it's just like, what teenager talks like that, honestly, but, again, it's very nitpicky things overall, but this was really a big surprise overall. I won't say it's a great film overall, but I never thought I would enjoy this movie as much as I did, especially after seeing those god-awful trailers. This movie was a big, big surprise in general, and it really turned my attention to the series in general, because the next film would come out not too long after this, and actually be another really good surprise, too. But, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, really fun film. Pitch Perfect, near Pitch Perfect overall as a film in general. So we've had some really good films. Now here comes the piece of crap. Let's take a look at Maggie Gyllenhaal in Won't Back Down.
We're late. Go. Miss School doesn't care. I care.
Try it again.
I can't.
Cody, you can do it. Come on. I don't get it, Mom.
I can't wait. With 10,000 studies about how being poor affects education, I can tell you being poor sucks and my kid can't read.
What happened? Where is she? Excuse me.
Malia!
I punished her because she does not follow rules.
Are you insane?
Okay. I know the joke has been that our education system is completely effed, teachers don't give a shit anymore, that type of stuff, but if that alone doesn't make you never ever want to take your kids to a school in the inner city like that, that should probably this writing this is some of the worst writing I've ever seen for a movie like this. What teacher does that to somebody that doesn't pay attention? Doesn't want to pay. Can't really do anything in there. It's just like, what world does this movie live in? That's just one of the many, many problems with this movie. But then again, it wouldn't surprise you that this comes from the same director who said that, you know what we need? A Twilight version of Beauty and the Beast. Because yes, this is the same director that gave us Beastly. So take that for what you will. But two determined mothers, a car dealer and bartender played by Maggie Gyllenhaal and a teacher played by Viola Davis, look to transform their children's failing inner-city schools in Pittsburgh, which, unlike the perks of being a wallflower last week, this makes the city look even worse for hiring people like that crazy, like that psycho. But facing a powerful and entrenched bureaucracy and corruption from the teachers' union president, played by Holly Hunter, and the school's principal, played by Bill Nunn, they risk everything to make a difference in the future education and future of their children, which, again, it's not a bad idea overall. It has a good message to it, and that's the worst part about this movie. This is a movie that it's a big letdown because it's trying to get a good message across in a shitty, shitty film. I mean, in this case, the main argument is we want a better school system for the kids. And yeah, that's a good message overall. But what we get here is a propaganda film that just shows that these schools are all evil. The teachers are nothing but carbon cutouts of terrible people who just don't give a fuck at all. And the message that they're trying to get out here isn't thought out well at all. This movie wastes a really good cast that not just includes the three I mentioned, but Ving Rhames, Rosie Perez. I mean, where was that Rosie Perez comeback that we got at the beginning of this past decade? Where was that in this movie? And yeah, this film has such a terrible way of getting its message across and doing it in the most stereotypical way possible. It's another one of those movies that could have easily been a movie you see on 10 years ago. This would have been a made-for-TV movie of the week for ABC, CBS, NBC. Like, I mean, right now, this would be a movie that, if at the time this was coming out, this would have been a Lifetime movie. Like, if it didn't have the stars that it had in this movie, this would have never made it into, this would have never left television screens. But no, because we have Maggie Gyllenhaal and Ving Rhames and Holly Hunter and Viola Davis and Rosie Perez, it's got to go to the big screen. And it's just, I mean, it's just a terrible movie. It's one of the worst movies of the year, very high up there. I think this was actually number 3 or 4 on my worst of the year list. I'd have to double check again, but yeah, this is a terrible movie. It's a movie that has a good message about how we need to fix the school system, but it's trying to get it across in a way that's been done to death before so many times, and done with characters that are so detestable and so unlikable. Even the people that we're supposed to like, you really have no sympathy for them whatsoever, because they put themselves in these really bad situations themselves, and it just suffers big time because of it. There's nothing good that comes from this movie whatsoever. The message gets lost in the shuffle, and it's a film that just is such an insult to people in general, not just parents who can't afford to have their kids in the nice schools and all that. Like, everybody in this movie looks terrible. It's a really, really bad movie. Like, this is unbelievable how terrible this film was. This was a huge, huge insult to everyone involved in it. You took a good message and you completely put it around a garbage movie and thought you could save it because you got the director of Beastly, which, you know what? That was your first mistake right there, hiring that guy. But yeah, won't back down. Maybe the studio should have backed down and not made this movie altogether. That's just my thinking behind it. So with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. We'll jump into the first week of October next time around. We take a look at Liam Neeson in the sequel to his big action hit from a couple years ago, Taken 2. We have Tim Burton with a stop-motion animated feature, a new one, Frankenweenie, based off of his original short film from the 1980s. We also have, I'm trying to find the next one here, we have The Paperboy starring Zac Efron and Nicole Kidman among its cast. We also have Butter, a comedy starring Jennifer Garner and Jason Bateman in here? No, it's Hugh Jackman. That's an ensemble comedy overall, but we'll take a look at that one as well as the anthology film VHS, the horror anthology film VHS. So 5 films to take a look at next time around. We'll delve into all of them coming up on the next episode. That'll be tomorrow. But until then, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honor of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode. With all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.